Hi everyone, let's talk about Carnegie, which I've just finished a full solo playthrough for. If you'd like to see the game in action and how it works and all of that stuff, it is in the playthrough video that should be linked in the description. This is just what I think about the game, if you're interested in that. I'm always on the lookout for one of the designers of Trois doing another game, basically. It doesn't always work out. We aren't always in love with them. And, you know, when the trio gets back together, I really enjoyed Trois Dice. Black Angel didn't really pop for me as much. But basically, I love Trois, and I want to see what they go on to do next. You know, Xavier Georges has designed some fantastic things on his own. You know, Carson City, maybe a bit mean, but love the Wild West worker placement. Gencar Place, you can see a playthrough of that on here. Really different kind of city building game. Can be a bit mean, but yeah, Carnegie is basically, it's so much of what I want from a game in general. I was just going to say a Euro game, but Eurogames are generally what I want in games, not always. Hey, you can look at the enormous Eldritch Horror playthrough that's probably already up here by now. But yeah, it is. It seems very intimidating to begin with. Lots of lovely tracks, places to put discs, big trays full of discs. But it didn't take very long to get to grips. You know, basically as soon as we had gone through the rulebook, which is not massive when you take out, you know, the pages to describe all of the various departments and the donation spots and stuff, the actual core of the game is so simple. It's surrounded by, you know, a lovely action selection mechanism. There are 4 things. You are going to trigger an event based on where the disc is. If you don't want to do R&D, you are going to give everyone that has a worker in the Midwest a chance to earn a ton of stuff, and then everyone activates their buildings of that type. From that, it ties you up in knots so often that you can see, you know, in a multiplayer game and in the solo game as well. We'll get to specifically the solo game, but it's great for replicating some of the feelings and decisions that you get in the multiplayer one as well. You are trying to judge, you know, what do I want to pick first of all? What have I got workers lined up for? Because there's a beautiful logistics puzzle of trying to make sure your workers are in the spots where you need them. But for a lot of the departments, you need to be continually sending them out onto the board, which is great because they can get you income, but then they're not there to do it next time. If somebody chooses that action again when it suits them and you're not geared up for it, then yeah, you're going to be stuck. So it's about trying to gauge, you know, I want to do this thing. What position is everyone else in? Are they going to do it? Can I wait a turn to do that? If I wait a turn, are they going to put themselves in a better position to do it? So should I just do it now? Have they got no workers on construction, so I'll be the only person that gets to do it and get a benefit out of it? I've got loads of workers out in the Midwest, or I'm the only person that it looks like can afford a donation right now, so maybe I want to do this action that's not so optimal. It is, yeah, just a beautifully simple system, but just this leads to, yes, so many kind of gut-wrenching decisions, and it's all variable in itself as well. I think there are 8 of these tiles. They're all double-sided. They all, you know, shuffle up, so the order of these things is going to be different. The priority of some of these areas, how often they're going to come up for retrieving people from missions, will affect maybe where you want to build. But there are loads of things based on, like, just from the base game, without changing the donations and the departments and stuff like that. I think there is so much, even if you were playing the full play game. I've only played this solo and 2-player, so a load of the departments always get removed when I have played. I think even with the same departments, there are so many, and there is so much kind of depth of choice and so many different avenues that they are sending you down based on what you are doing, where you can get your workers. If you have built up this kind of roster of really powerful departments, but you need to keep sending the people out, so that means you need a kind of robust HR department to get your people back out to those places. But then you can probably, if you've got loads of worker movement, you can probably build right up here where it's worth more points and make sure loads of people are employed. Or you can just, you know, go for the less powerful things, you know, the less powerful action, but you'll get to do loads more of them, and you could just kind of disregard that action. But at the same time, HR is going to come up, so you want to be able to do something there. It's the worst feeling when someone chooses an action and you're just like, I've got nothing geared up for that. And that does play into a little bit where that's the indirect interaction in the game. There is nothing where you can cut people off, I suppose, a bit. Some of the routes can get a bit narrow, and yeah, it's not the only way of scoring points. There are plenty of things to be thinking about, things to be going for. There is a bit of that you could be doing, but the main thing is you are trying to pick something that's going to benefit you and not benefit other people. And that can lead to, if it can be punishing making mistakes or not anticipating some things. And a few too many actions where it's just like, oh, well, the other players actually got a decent amount out of that and I got nothing yet again, you can fall behind. But yeah, some of that will be from experience, and yeah, you have to be aware of what the other people are doing. Even when it's not your turn, it can be tough deciding some of this. It can, I imagine, if you are, I'd say if you're very AP prone, I'm kind of AP prone, and yeah, I've taken, I've had to be nudged to just pick something, because yeah, it can just tie you up, that you're always like, well, I just want, if I could just do this action first, then I'd have everything in order to do this action here, but then you're going to benefit from this more. Yeah, it just works so beautifully. I absolutely love it. Gorgeous artwork, layout, design from Ian O'Toole, as always, in everything that he's done. This is the deluxe edition, but yeah, I feel like I would have been happy with just the normal edition with all the cardboard stuff as well. All of the wooden tokens are nice as well. The shiny money, it is lovely. It's a bit too shiny to be on camera. I will show it off again because it should be out there. Yeah, game trays, very functional and nice. I'm not entirely sure which is in which version or the other, but I'm saying, yeah, if you're thinking of which version, yeah, I would not be unhappy. I know it's a bit rich from me coming from, here's the deluxe edition in front of me, and I'm talking about I'd be happy with the other one. I would definitely be fine with the other one. None of it is necessary stuff, but yeah, it's just a lovely way of presenting a pretty beautiful game anyway. It's got a few expansion modules that I mentioned that can change your starting position, can change the departments available, the donations that are out there. So, even more variability from a system that I think, as I was saying, even if that was the same every time, I think it will still be very dynamic and different when you are playing, just because of what everyone else is doing and the thought you need to put into not just your own situation, but others too. And then the solo, it is absolutely gorgeous solo action. Put that in the box. Playing against Andrew. It's a simple system, a lovely system where you have cards that change based on the difficulty, which is also going to kind of change his focus, his personality, because cards might focus on one action more than another or leave off another action. You can't really be sure what his focus is going to be until the game goes on, but the game gets harder when your kind of advantage over him is that you can see what he would like you to choose when you're choosing an action, and you can also see what he's going to choose next time, so you can be planning around that. The downside of that is you'll always go second to him, so whenever there's a donation, he goes first, and he does make it randomly based on here, but the kind of counterbalance to that, which is beautiful and leads to loads and loads of tough decisions, is that all of his donations, all of his endgame scoring criteria is based on what you did. So you can be working up to these things and maybe you were just about to get that donation, or you couldn't afford it, you didn't leave yourself with enough money to do a donation, and he plonks his disc on something that you have been doing all game. Yeah, that is, it's harsh sometimes and tough. And now all of a sudden, I don't want to build in the East anymore. He's going to get loads of points for doing that. Or maybe I don't want to do all this. You've got to weigh up how much you're going to get out of that. Sure, there is a build-in that lets you put discs on top of his, but then you're putting things out and you're only getting the same number of points as him. I have found that even at normal difficulty, he is a very tough opponent to beat. But by having this kind of advance warning, and then, even on normal difficulty, there's 15 cards where you know what he's going to pick, and then 5 advanced cards, the mystery cards, and they always seem to come up at the worst time for you, where it's getting really tight on numbers of movements or the money or the cubes that you've got, and I could really do with knowing what he's going to do. Okay, well, I'll do this now, and then next turn, based on what he's going to do, I'll decide where to put my workers, and then one of these come out. It is, it works so well. It's so frustrating, but then, you've just got to, like in the multiplayer game, you can get an idea of what people will be going for based on their boards, but they're not necessarily going to be doing that. They're playing the same mind games of, well, I know that they know that I've got all of this built up, so I'm going to choose this thing instead, and not give them the satisfaction of getting that action for free. It's, it just works beautifully well. I love, as well as the design and stuff, the kind of components. Who doesn't like sliding these things in the slots on the board? It is, and then even they're different as well, so you can mix and match those up and have a different experience that way. the movement of the workers, the race in the railroad tracks, and to get across the cities, deciding based on this where to put your workers out. I love everything about it. And I say, apart from, and that's basically just us as players, isn't it? That's, yeah, it's not you intentionally being mean, but there were a lot of times in the two-player game where one of it is just like, well, I can see you can get nothing from that, and yeah, if it's affecting both of you in a similar way, then brilliant. But yeah, if it's affecting one person at the table all of the time, then yeah, it can leave someone behind basically, or it can leave someone without a load of actions. Apart from that, yeah, I'm just in love with this basically, and I'm kind of just stretching and making a bigger. I don't want to sound like I'm making a massive deal out of that, but yeah, that's one thing that's not been just a glowing, amazing time about it. But everything else, oh, I love Carnegie. I might just go and watch the playthrough again, just to experience again. Or I could just play it, couldn't I? It's right out here. I'm going to stop talking now because it's just descending into rambling. Hey, it wasn't rambling before, that was content. Thanks everyone for watching this though. There's loads of playthroughs, you can watch one of them if you would like. Thank you for watching this one though, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye.